So just coming together as a community now in this co-created community of sorts. And adjusting yourself, we spoke of this last week with the compactness of the legs in swastikasana or sukhasana, feeling easily the indents at the corners of the hips. And from that compactness, the spine will obviously ascend. And that's one of the reasons we generally don't sit in siddhasana, because there's less compactness. But if you want to sit in Ardha Padmasana, half lotus pose or lotus pose, that's fine with me, because that seated posture, you'll feel most compact. And just feel the base, that part of your body in contact with the floor, feeling the evenness across the backs of the thighs, the buttock bones. And then adjust your arms so that the arms are relaxed down by the side. The trapezius skin move to the waist, the cervical spin move to the head side, and relax the sides of the throat, very bottom of the throat. And now allow your eyes to close. And just begin to internalize your consciousness, albeit it takes time. And then as you sit, try not to get anywhere, not trying to improve or to impose anything or even manage something. Sense that you're sitting, but you're resting, you're gathering, you're strengthening. You might catch a glimpse of where you contract, of where the mind wants to improve, wants to impose, wants to manage, wants to handle, wants to control. And see if you can just note that with a mental notation as to what it is. And then come back to sitting. Again, letting go of everything imposed and mechanically controlled. Allow yourself to surrender to the unknown. Allow yourself to create space for glimpses of peace and silence within. And then, because it is the week of Thanksgiving, and I know there's so much talk now about gratitude, but I'd like to substitute that word for gratitude today for the word cherish. And to reflect a moment on what you cherish in your own life. Cherish is such a rich word, a word full of meaning. And just to reflect on, again, what you cherish most in your life. And then when you're ready, you can repeat the vow, may I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be a medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. May I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist. Until all are enlightened, I vow to be here to serve them all. When you're ready, you can lift your gaze, allow your eyes to open, and stretch out your legs. So we're going to start just with a little work on the hip flexors, because we are doing some abdominal work appropriate for, again, this time of year. So if your knees are okay with Supta Virasana, then I strongly urge you to do Supta Virasana, or you can do Supta Swastikasana, lying flat on the back with the arms, both of them with the arms out to the side. Hi, Nadia. Okay. So everyone looks like, yeah, and do spend a moment in Virasana, making sure your inner heels don't collide underneath your buttocks. Hi, Marina, and making sure that you're on your outer shin and the inner knees are lifting up. So some of you will need height for Supta Virasana. Supta Swastikasana, cross-legged, can just be done. That, Lindsay, that's fine. You can do a supported Paryankasana, straight legs. Okay, so when you're ready, I had Lana, I had told you there's a wonderful new podcast called How to Know God. He's a scientist researcher, I believe at Harvard. And he spoke of in Shintoism, there are rituals done in the very early years of when someone's when the woman is pregnant, as well as when the first few years of childhood, and they go through practices involved with cherishing that human being. It's a fascinating lecture. And actually he doesn't do it every week, but this week's happens to be on gratitude. But it's a wonderful, wonderful podcast. Just started. I think there's 4 in total now. Hi, Carla. So we're doing Supta Virasana for the hip flexors, because in order to do abdominal work, the hip flexors. The other possibility is doing Bekasana, Ekapada, and Bekasana, or even Tita Bekasana. So I'll give you some choices. But ideally, Supta Virasana. Yeah, and then you'll take the arms overhead. So those of you coming in, good morning to you. So appropriately, we're talking about the word cherishing, and also talking about doing abdominal work prior to Thanksgiving. Take enough height so you're not overarching. This is really important as you come to do abdominal work. Peggy, that's good. And then the arms can reach overhead, reach through the fingertips. And then you can hold the wrists or the upper arms or elbows. Okay. Settle in. Glad to see that many of you using the belt. Yeah, so in order of the groin work, I would say Supta Virasana first, and Supta Swastikasana, and then Supta Baddha Konasana, as you know, is more for the inner thighs. The other possibility is if you're getting restless for some reason, in a supine pose, you can flip over and do a prone on your belly, Bekasana. Janet, that looks good. I think that looks really good. And then restretch your arms to Urdhva Hastasana, and then take the opposite fold of the arms in bound hand. So anyone who has wrist issues or shoulder issues, when we come to do some of the weight bearing, you'll let me know. If at any point your back bothers you throughout the sequence, hopefully the progression of UPP will give you adequate knowledge to come back to a pose earlier on. And that's kind of why I did it in this sequence, because I know UPP, I call it Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, is really challenging for people. Right, Nadia? People do not like that pose. All right. All right. Take head support if you need it. So you're in the second cross of Baddha Hasta, and then you'll take the arms down by your side and just simply relax with the arms slightly lower than shoulder level. So I think since most of you, Nadia, you can stay a little, if those of you just got in, Carla, Nadia, then stay a bit. Otherwise, we're going to come out in a moment. Remember, the thighs are not touching, just a little bit apart so the diaphragm can spread. You should feel a fullness in the side walls of the chest, especially on the inhalation. And then when you're ready, come out, place the hands firmly into the feet, press the feet, shins, and inhale, lift the chest, good. That's it, Peggy. Head is last to follow. Give a good stretch to the legs. Actually, we'll do dog pose now. So I think everyone is doing dog pose. Elaine, you could just do half Uttanasana at the wall. We're going back on the floor soon. Okay, so when you're ready, heels can be at wall. Just do this for the knees having been in flexion. Elaine, legs at wall Uttanasana or hands at wall length. That's good, Luna. Okay. Now you can stay. All right. Use this now, lift the toes up and open the backs of the knees. Outer shins in, inner knees away. Heels at the wall and toes up will help you a lot to open up the backs of the knees. Marina, good. All right. Now, walk your, you can take the feet to the outer edge. This first dog pose, always good to have the feet wide, especially if your hamstrings, anyone, Janet, tight, you are wider than hip width apart. All right, now walk your feet toward your hands and take a half uttanasana. If you're near the wall, you can put the legs at the wall, which is a wonderful way to stretch the legs. Just half uttanasana, where the back lumina is concave. Be on your fingertips or use the short side lumina of the brick. Okay, that's good, Lindsay. Good. Move the calf to the shin, Lindsay. Yeah, that's it. Calf to shin. Good, Peggy. Now place the hands on the hips and up you come. So I was thinking about, as I said earlier, a progression toward UPP. And what I mean by a progression toward UPP, we'll get to UPP, but knowing that it might be hard, there are pit stops along the way, so that when we get to UPP, if that's not palatable, you can go back to something I taught previous in time. So this is just the very first way we're going to start with the progression, which is rather easeful. All you're going to do is lie flat on your back. And this is why you think about why flat on the back is good for back pain. So my feet are flat on the floor. So the top of the sacrum is in contact with the floor. And then I'm just going to direct the breath. All right. And then we'll go and repeat this with the feet on the wall, which I'll call supine utkatasana for lack of a better word. All right. So lie flat. And I'm doing this because this is the feeling that one should have in abdominal work. Yeah, so don't have the heels too close into the buttocks. Just relax, feel the top of the sacrum in contact with the earth. And I've been talking about this a lot. Okay, just take an inhalation, feel the breath, touch the side walls of the chest. And then on the exhalation, and I always encourage you to put your hand on your navel band, feel the abdomen recede away from the hand, right? So the abdomen is just deflating. And then against the resistance of the abdomen deflating and moving back, take another inhalation. Take another inhalation. Yeah, we're going to do that in the sequence too, Nadia. Yeah. So also, Nadia is doing upward facing dog with hands on blocks. That's another wonderful stretch for the hip flexors. Right. All right, so just take a few deep breaths in that manner. So press the feet strongly into the earth. Feel the top of the sacrum in contact with the earth. Take an inhalation, feel the side walls of the chest. And then exhale, allow the abdomen to recede away, slightly back. And then against the resistance of the abdomen moving back, take another inhalation. In that manner. That's it. So this begins the progression toward Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, upward facing leg pose, which is the basic abdominal pose that we teach in Iyengar yoga. All right, now roll to your right or left side and then watch the second progression. So I'll call this, because I like to kind of make up the poses. I'll call this a supine utkatasana. You'll love this. So this is where the feet are actually on the wall, and it's very similar to what you just did. So I'm pressing my feet. Notice how my thighs are basically at a right angle. Now, when the feet are at the wall, you're going to feel something a little bit different than when they're flat. So again, I take a deep breath. I feel the side walls of my chest expand. And then when I exhale, the abdomen deflates, slightly moves back. And then I feel, as I continue to press the feet, there's a shortening of the distance between my pubic bone and navel. Okay? I want you to feel that. Then at some point, we're going to I want to do it both legs at the same time. both legs up at the wall when you feel that shortening of the distance between the pubic bone and the navel. So I'll call this an angular Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. I'm going to stay in supine Utkatasana. Abdomen deflates, abdomen moves back. I'm using my hand, and then I can feel the shortening of the distance between the pubic bone and the navel, and then I raise the legs to the wall to form the angular UPP. All right? All right, so now supine Utkatasana at the wall. You'll all love that. Thighs at a right angle, and then go through the same breathing pattern. Breathing in, expanding the side walls of the chest. And then I like to, just because you can get a lot of proprioception with your hand on your navel, the abdomen deflates. The abdomen draws back away from the hand. Take a few breaths like that. Observe as you go through the progression of moving in the second and third supine Utkatasana, how you shorten the distance with the legs being bent, the feet on the wall. As you press the feet into the wall, the shortening of the pubic bone to the navel happens on its own. You really don't have to make that happen very much. You will have to make it happen more when the legs are straight though, and certainly in UPP. So there's a natural deflation of the abdomen draws back. In that action, there's an inherent shortening the distance between the navel and the pubic band, at some point when you feel that, with the legs at the same time, raise the heels to the wall for the angular UPP. When you're ready. Okay, good. This is good. So now the legs are straight. Marina, you could be a little closer to the wall. I should have caught that earlier. And now the legs are straight. Okay, and then keep your hand on your navel. Take a few breaths in that manner. Breathing in, again, feel the side walls of the chest expand. The abdomen moves back. Now, one last caveat, as the abdomen deflates and moves it back, don't let the chest contract. And that's challenging because there's a tendency when we're doing abdominal work is for the chest to shrink, and we don't feel the in-breath in the side walls of the chest. And then there's a contraction in the throat and then in the eyes. So can you do all that you've done flat on the floor, supine Utkatasana when the legs are bent, and now when the legs are straight in the angular UPP, do all this without contracting eyes, throat. There is a drawing of the abdomen back, but see if you can maintain the fullness in the side walls of the chest. It's a little nuanced, but I want to see if you can get that, because all of these actions will appear down the road. Keep pressing the feet into the heels into the wall. Okay, now bend the knees, Dvipada. Hold the shin or the knee or the back of the thigh. And again, use this bent leg Dvipada to merge the chest with the thighs. This is preparation down the road for poses like Malasana, but also Utkatasana. Again, inhale, feel the breath expand the side walls of the chest. Exhale, the abdomen has to deflate so you can get the thighs closer and closer to the chest, which requires deep hip flexion. Okay, now, if those of you are, don't be too close to the wall. Just hold the sides of the mat in Dvipada. Turn the arms from the inside out. Okay, now we're going to do Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. If this bothers you in any way, then I would urge you to go back to an angular, the iteration that we just did. And Janet, I'm watching you, okay? All right, have the legs now at 90 degrees. Urdhva Prasarita. This one you have to know because we've done it a gazillion times. Now, if the legs start to shake, you have two options. You can go back to the angular iteration where the heels are at the wall, or put the belt around. But I'd like you to stay at least 30 seconds with the legs airborne. Okay, now those of you who are finding this easy, I urge you to take the arms overhead. Take the arms overhead. Now, in taking the arms overhead, don't let the eyes lift up, contract the throat. Now find out, have you tipped the pelvis? Are you overarching? If that's the case, put your hand on your navel band and go through the same litany of instructions that we did earlier on. I'm trying to get to about a minute. Those who can, keep the arms down by the side. Those whose legs are lowering from 90 to 80, put the belt on and stay. Okay. Now take the knee. Just take a slight detour based on what I saw. Have your block, your strap is hopefully there. And then you're going to do this. You're going to go back to what we did, Dvipada, and then UPP 90, not beyond 90. And then separate the legs, put the block in. I'm not doing the narrow side, slightly wider, which actually makes me feel the abdomen draw back away from my hand even more. And then we'll stay here a bit. Those who can, arms overhead. And then you'll take away the block and come back to UPP. Some of you might want to stay with the block. So staying with the block, so using the block and staying with the block will ensure that you're not overarching. Some people, I've taught it with the strap, if you remember, pulling out the strap, that's another possibility. Okay, so Dvipada first, pause. Merge the abdomen with the thighs, and then legs up to 90. Wait. When you just take the legs a little further back from the chest so they're at 90. Okay, now insert block. Put your hand on your navel and feel that. Not between the inner, Elaine, it looks like it's too high, between the inner thighs, not the inner knees. Stay there. Okay, that's it. Now observe how now you can acutely feel the abdomen back. Those who can, take the arms overhead. Full pose, UPP. Lana will probably do something like that with sit-ups, but you can do that if you want. Janet, yeah, that's fine to do, Janet, with the arms overhead, but make sure the arms are not dangling. You can just hold the straps in two hands. It might be a little bit easier. Okay, now those who want, take the block out, Mary Beth and others. Now have the memory of the brick and stay 30 seconds more. So again, it's a progression. If you haven't done abdominals, this is a good place to begin. Lubna, take the legs closer to the chest because they're falling a little bit behind, which may happen. Remember, the top of the sacrum belongs to the floor. Top of the sacrum belongs to the floor. Moving along is taking the arms overhead. See if you can ignite the gastric fires now that we're going into winter, and of course that big eating period. Now take the knees into the chest and just rest. Good. All right. So now we're going to try something different. Although I did teach this, I don't think on COVID, but I did teach this back in the studio. So watch for a moment. You'll have a strap. And you're coming back to UPP. Not all of you use the strap with UPP, some of you did. So I go back to Dvipada, which really begins the progression. And I put the belt across. I hold the belt with two hands and I start at 90 degrees. See how my legs are poker stiff. And then I keep the left leg in its place. I slip my right foot out of the belt and I lower my leg. And if you can, don't bring it down to the floor. Not to say it's wrong, it can be done many different ways. You can go slightly above, there'll be a little bit more abdominal. This is why we did the hip flexors. And then raise the right leg up, slip the right foot into the loop, hold the left leg, of course, holding the right leg with the belt helps it. And then keeping this left leg poker stiff, begin to descend to the floor. So it's kind of like an Ekapada Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, okay? All right, so we're going to do at least 5 of these. slipping the leg in and out. So a right side or left side counts as one rep. So the leg, the aerial leg stays at 90, not beyond 90. It looked like my leg came beyond 90. Want the legs are straight. Okay, so you're starting in UPP with the belt. I think everyone can, yeah. Lindsay V, if this is not palatable, you can do Supta 1, which is basically, this is Supta 1, only done more for the abdominals. Okay. Lindsay, you can put in the chat box. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so everyone UPP with belt on. Notice how it's fairly easeful with the belt. The belt helps you. Winnie, the legs are going a little bit beyond 90. I'm just gonna go up and read the screen for a minute. I can remember the top of the sacrum flat on the floor. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, sorry. Oh dear. Okay, so this, so Lindsay, you can do Supta 1 for back, Dvipada, and I'll move on as we move on. Some of this actually won't be bad. Okay. So Supta, actually, you know what? Start with Supta 2 and then out to the side and then Supta 1. Lindsay B. Okay. Now slip the right foot out of the belt and lower the heel either to the floor or 1 inch above. Keep the leg straight, poker stiff. You're just lowering the leg, right leg. All right, now take the leg up, put it in the belt, and now left leg. The other thing might feel really good, Lindsay V, is just to sit on a chair, put another chair in front, or if you don't have a chair in front, reach forward to the wall with your hands. That's a really good one, like a Pavanmuttasana. Okay, then when you're done with taking the left leg down, 4 more rounds, right, left, right, left. Okay, so I'm just looking at the screen to see. Those who can, bring the heel slightly above the floor and then keep the leg poker stiff on the way up as well, even though you have to bend the leg to slip it back into the loop. Good. Okay, and then keep moving on. So remember to keep that leg Elaine at 90. Yes, the aerial leg. So it's, you know, it's different than, it feels like Supta 1, but it's not Supta 1. It's more like a one-legged Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. So you're keeping the left leg at 90 as you lower the right, and your right leg at 90 as you lower the left. Good, Carla. And go in that manner. Go in that manner. Janet, this should be very palatable, this Ekapada. And I think one time we had done this for you as a modification. But Marina, come on, let's see. So that's it. 5 times. Go in and out. Main thing is to keep the abdomen drawing back toward the front of the spine as we did in the angular iteration. Okay, and then if some of you are done with the 5th one, yes, you could take the knees into the chest and wait there, but then we're doing UPP again. All right. Now when you're ready, take UPP with the belt, same thing with the belt, slip both feet into the belt now, wait there. You can hold the sides of the mat. Legs at 90, not beyond 90. What makes it different than Supta 1. Now drop the belt. Let go of the belt. Let go of the belt. Hold the sides of the mat. Those who can, stretch the arms overhead. If the wall is there, you can reach the wall. If your dowel movement is there, take the dowel. Keep the arms straight. Janet, that's good. So now you're in UPP. Legs are straight. Side ribs are long. Abdomen's moving back. Throat is relaxed. Take your hand, everyone, to your navel band and feel that articulation of the abdomen moving back, shortening of the distance between the pubic bone and the navel. Okay, and now take Dvipada. All right, wait there. All right, now we're going to do something similar in Supta 2, but it's not Supta 2. Okay, so watch. Going back to UPP, that's our theme for today. Be interested to hear what you think of this one. So again, I hold the legs up with my belt. And then Supta 2, I keep this left leg in its place. I slip the right leg out of the belt, and now I'm taking the right leg out to the side without the belt. In Supta 2, we're holding the belt, but I'm not using the belt. And then I bring the leg up, I slip it back in, and now I take the left leg out, and the same we did with Supta 1. Sorry, this belt is slipping from my sneaker. And then I take the leg out to the side. This is more for the obliques. You can see how the right leg is wandering out to the side. I have to keep it in its place. So it's basically Supta 2. This will be more challenging for most of you than the other one. All right, so go back to UPP, loop it. Lindsay, you can decentralize the left heel at the wall for your Supta 2. Yeah, because oftentimes with any issues with back, we'll take Supta 2 first, then Supta 1. Okay. All right. Now, slipping the right foot out just the same way we did Supta 1. Keep the left leg in its place. Take the right leg out to the side. Lindsay, you're doing it with the strap, which is good. Okay. So the right leg is out to the side. Hold the belt with the hands. Good. And now take the leg up. Slip it back into the loop, and now left leg comes out, good Lubna, and go out. That's it. And now 5 times in the same way. Focus on keeping the aerial leg in its place, the hips compact as you take the leg out to the side. This is actually really good preparation also for Jethro Parvatanasana. So you're doing 5 times in that manner. We'll do a quasi JP after this. Go out to the side. When you go out to the side, resist the aerial leg also going out to the side as a way to compensate. That's it. Good. So you're doing 5, good, Winnie, in that manner. Out to the side. That's it, Marina. Go out to the side. Lindsay, that's good. And also, if you have the chair, you can do Tita Marichyasana 1 with the foot on the chair. The same thing. I'll send you something after the class in the email. Good, Mary Beth. Out to the side. Supta, we'll call this really a progression of UPP, but it's taking the leg out to the side like Supta 2. Out to the side, slipping it back in. Lindsay, if that felt good, that's an indication that the forward bends like Padamuttasana are really the way to go. You could try Chitta Marichyasana with the chair sideways and the leg up, so you'd have to be at the wall. This one, so not so much that one, this one where the chair is here. Everyone keep on your toe, Lindsay. This one, Chitta Marichyasana, and you can toe in on the bottom, heel out. Toe in, heel out. That's also effective, but it might be, so you're standing, have your right, so the right leg that's up, Lindsay, the right hip is almost at the wall. It's just kind of grazing it. So see that chair's on the side, the chair seat is facing out. So the other, you have to have your right hip at the wall. So you would turn yourself around. So the chair seat is facing away from the wall. It doesn't. Okay, and now when you're ready, take UPP again with the belt. Yeah, that way, Lindsay. Yeah, now you got it. It was turned around. Okay, UPP with the belt. These should be getting easier. Wait there. Now let go of the belt, drop the belt, take the arms overhead. Okay, take the arms overhead. Winnie, the legs are moving beyond 90. Yeah, beyond 90. Put your hand on your abdomen. So your abdomen recede away from your hand as you shorten the distance between the pubic bone and the navel so the back doesn't overarch. That's going to become really important in a moment. Now everybody take Dvipada. That's it, Lindsay B. Yeah, so that's Utthita Marichyasana 1. The other thing you could do is sit in the chair, Lindsay, now and do chair Bharadvajasana. Okay, so now we're going to move on, working with gravity and then against gravity. So watch. And this is where all the actions become now critically important. All right, so if this bothers you in any way, then you can go back to one of the iterations we already did, or just unmute yourself and let me know. So here's Dvipada again, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Some of you have the arms overhead. That's a moving along action. Now the legs are at 90 degrees, not here nor here. Now I'm using the gravitational force to now lower the legs halfway. We'll call it 60, but it's really 45. And then down to 30. And then you can take your knees in and back up. All right, that makes it a little bit easier just dealing now with gravity. All right. So if this is challenging for anyone, do the one-legged iteration that we just did without the belt. Okay, so here we go. That's it, Lindsay. Yeah, Chair Bharadvajasana, 1. All right, so now when you're ready, legs are at 90, arms are overhead. All right, now from 90, again, if it's helpful, put your hand on your abdomen. The abdomen draws back, you have the memory of the block, lower halfway, let's just say 45 versus 60, and then lower to about an inch off the floor, 2 inches, we'll call that 30, and then take the knees into the chest. That's much easier. We'll get to going against gravity in a moment. Okay, 5 in that manner. So again, this is a progression of UPP. Lindsay, that's good. Take the legs cross-legged, build up the support in front of you. Okay, to above the floor, knees in, legs up, 5 in that manner. Knees in, legs up at 90, that's it. So let's just say it's 90, legs are poker stiff, 45, 2 inches off the floor, good, Mary Beth, knees in, that's it. So working with gravity. Then the knees on the exit. All right. Let's see, Carla, 90, halfway, little bit off the floor, knees into chest, knees into chest. Lindsay, that's good. Okay. And now Dvipada, Dvipada, knees into the chest. All right, now we're going against gravity. So to make it a little bit easier, before we do up and down, let me show you this kind of interim phase, which I really like. It's not generally taught, but it really works well. So again, I'm using Dvipada as an index pose to come back to. Then watch, I'm going to push my heels away. 30, 60, 90, knees into chest. It sounds like you're like a plow, pushing the snow away. 30, 60, 90. If it's helpful, put your hand on your abdomen. So now this will be harder because you're going against gravity. See if you can do 5. Flex the feet, open the soles of the feet, push so the feet are off the floor. Good, Lubna. 30. It's the same order going up. Good, Elaine. All right, in that manner, 5. Lindsay, when you're doing the Pajra Swastikasana, that's good. You can let the buttock of the hip that you're moving away from lift up. Then I would also try just leg flat on your back, legs elevated at the wall. Okay, in that manner, legs are straight, 30, 60, 90. If this is easy, do more. This is easy, take the arms overhead. Remember, it's hard to see on the screen between the mat and the clothing. Your pelvis, you're not overarching your back. Otherwise, go to the one-legged iteration or the angular iteration that we did earlier on. Okay, and then finally, Dvipada again. All right, now we're gonna move on, assuming that was palatable. So we're back to Dvipada. Now we're going to 90 degrees again, UPP. We go 60, 30, and then 60, 90, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Again, 5 of those, all right? So we're doing them with the pauses first versus continuous. All right, so now at 90, go to 60, go to 30. If it's hard to go back up to 60, then bring the knees into the chest just like you did before. Some of you will need that. And then take the upward against gravity in the way we just did. All right? And then go on next, another 4. That's it, Elaine. And then go up without bending the legs. Those who need to bend the legs, please do. So you're doing 5 in total. Don't overarch your back. Again, to make it easier, the arms can be down by the side. Arms can be down by the side. Good. And then on your 5th round, again, take the knees into the chest and wait there. All right, now just out of curiosity, because I've taught it with continuous and with pauses, you can tell me in the chat box or direct an email to me about how you thought about these poses. So you just did the pause way. Now I'm going to have you do a continuous, right? So we go back to Dvipada up to 90, and now continuously take the legs to 30 and then up to 90, down to 30, up to 90. Now, I would probably say that this is harder, but I don't want to put my perception of it. Make sure you're not overarching your back, especially on the movement up. If it's too challenging, go back to the pauses or an earlier iteration. Lindsay, you can just have the legs elevated at the wall. Yeah, you can put if you have a sandbag would be good, or a bolster. Okay, so now when you're ready, Janet, that's good. Take the knees in. So on your way back up, you may need to take the knees in, but I want the legs straight. Start with the arms down by the side, and then you can assess if you can take the arms overhead. Okay, so now when you're ready, that's it. All right, keep going, 5. So we've done, 5, 10, 15, 20, hoping to get to about 20 rounds. You might be sore tomorrow. That may not be a bad thing. I did these the other day and I actually was sore. All right, Nadia, good. Remember, Ekapada variation, angular UPP is also, so it's a continuous movement all the while. On your way up, make sure you're pressing the abdomen back, and then rest in Dvipada, and just enjoy this respite. I'm going to take a slight detour here, doing a kind of another way of looking at a progression, Nadia, of Ardha Navasana. So this is basically like a sit-up. We're going back to where you were flat on the floor, sacrum flat. You're going to interlace your hands and then lift up so that the shoulder blades are not on the floor. So we'll call this just a basic sit-up, all right? So feet flat on the back. Knees, have the feet not too close into the buttocks, but not too far away out, like Chatuspadasana. Interlace the hands firm at the webbing. Okay, now when you're ready, draw your abdomen back toward the waist and lift the shoulder blades off the floor. Hold without holding your throat, and then relax. Let's see if we can do 10. 10 might be a lot if you haven't done these. Sacrum is flat on the back. It's flat on the floor. Top of the sacrum, flat on the floor. Abdomen draws back. You're not flattening out your lower spine. There remains that natural concavity in the lower spine. Okay, and then lift up 5 times or 10 times. Lindsay V, that's good. Okay, keep going. Press the feet. That's it, Carla, good. That's it. All right. Make sure, give yourself a big hug, Elaine. Make sure the bottom of the shoulder blade is clearing the floor. Give yourself a big hug. Make sure the bottom of the shoulder blade, it's easy to clear the top. I'm going to get to that soon, Nadia. All right, now try this. So now we're going to release the arms from the back of the head and reach the arms forward. Again, the shoulder blades clear because soon we'll outstretch the legs. So I want you to use the arms to lift the shoulder blades off the floor. Okay, sit-ups in that way, just 3 of them. All right, so use your arms to reach forward. That's it, Janet. Relax the throat. Reach forward. Get the shoulder blades, Lubna, off the floor. Good, Lindsay M. Shoulder blades off the floor. Try not to use momentum. Reach forward. Bring yourself completely back to the floor. Peggy, if your neck hurts, then don't lift the head. Yeah, just go back to go back to the previous iteration where the hands were behind the head, or put head support. You can still get the abdominal work. That's it. Okay. Now, this is what we're going to try. We're going to try raising the legs off the floor, which is challenging. So this first iteration, I want you to lift the legs and then extend the arms. The second iteration, we're going to lift the legs, have the hands behind the back of the skull, and raise both. Okay? All right, so let's try this. The first one's easier, using the arms. So now lift the legs to 30. Reach the arms forward to lift the shoulder blades. Mary Beth, a little bit lower. Everybody almost a little bit lower. Yeah, a little bit lower. The abdomen, good, Lindsay M. Relax the throat. Peggy, you can just keep the head and neck on the floor and just lift the legs to kind of like that 30-degree position. Okay, now try this. Interlace the hands behind the back of the head. Now you don't have the arms to help you to clear the shoulder blades, but try it. Raise the legs 30. Raise the shoulder blades, wait there. If you need to have bent legs, that's fine. Go back to an earlier iteration, because that's the whole point. Change the swap of the hands. All right, legs up, shoulder blades up, rest there. A little bit lower, Marina, in the legs, a little bit lower, Marina, in the legs. Good. All right, and now take Dvipa, just rest. All right, flip over, take Adho Mukha Virasana, child's pose, which will feel good. And actually do child's pose just to rest your abdomen a moment. Bring the thighs together. Bring the thighs together and go forward. Lindsay V, you can do this. Thighs together. So you're cushioning your whole abdomen. Spread. Use your hand to spread the abdomen. You don't necessarily need a blanket. Nadi, you can, yeah. This should feel good after that. Reach forward with the arms, because we're going to do Adho Mukha Svanasana in a moment. Elaine, you can stay in Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay, now when you're ready, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Elaine, just rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. Good. Observe how Adho Mukha Svanasana feels. We did it earlier. This one should feel rather different, having done the abdominal work. Notice how you just kind of lifted yourself off the floor. All right, now walk your feet toward your hands. Inhale, up you come. Now we did a supine Utkatasana, so you know, and we worked on it last week, you're going to do Utkatasana 3 times going down, and then I'm going to spotlight, then we'll do heel raises, and then Elaine, I'm going to spotlight you to the jumping Utkatasana, and then we're going to deal with some new thing with jumping. All right, so from the side in profile, you can stand with the feet apart or together. Lindsay, come a little bit closer to the wall so that it looks like, yeah, so that right foot, knee is over the ankle, the chair can be a little further away, and come in a little bit with the standing leg. All right, now raise the arms up. You can lift the toes up. And then remember what we talked about. Keep length in the lower spine, Mary Beth, as you sit down. You might not have to, don't go down as much then to get the chest upright. To get the chest upright, good, Peggy. The thighs descend, the shins move back, the heels move down. Utkatasana. Now do that a few times. Utkatasana, a few times. Utkatasana a few times in that manner. Lindsay V, you can also stand after this, stand in Tadasana with the block between your legs, and I'll send you a sequence. Marina, see if you can get the chest more upright, my friend. More upright. More upright. Okay, one more time, Mary Beth, that's good. Keep the length in the lower spine that you gleaned in the previous work. Okay, now out you come. All right, now try these heel raises before Elaine shows you what we're going to do. So you're just going to the wall and you're lifting your heels up. When you lift your heels up, make sure the foot doesn't torque. So the inner heel and the outer heel should remain parallel to each other. Let's see, lift your heels up and yes, heel raises. Lindsay, you can do it the block, heel raises. Most of you can do at least 15 of these. Marina, you can go a little closer to the wall, it looks like, yeah. Lift your heels up. You're going to employ that action when Elaine shows us what to do. We do about 15 in that manner. Lindsay, as long as it doesn't bother your back and you're holding the block between your legs. Lift the heels up, heels up, heels up. The other thing that's good, Lindsay V, is to just, you can relax and do legs elevated on the chair seat and then a prone shavasana might be best. That's it, Nadia. Inner heels to the outer heels. Okay, Elaine, I'm going to spotlight you now and you're going to show us your jumping. All right, so watch everyone. Okay, yeah, show in profile. So she's standing in Tadasana. Notice how when she was in a Tadasana, her thighs didn't come forward. All right, and then Elaine, when you're ready, you can do Utkatasana, yes. And now jump. Yes, jump, jump, jump. Now I will say those of you who have foot issues, a sneaker might be preferable. This is something we did in Jarvis's class a long time ago. Good, Elaine. That's good. Like the jumping bean. All right. So let's see how, I think 5 could be great. 10, if you're used to practicing, if you have sneakers in the room nearby, that's fine. Good. I remove the spotlight. Okay. So now let me put everyone in gallery view again and let me see. All right, so we're going to raise the arms up without the thighs coming forward, Uttanasana. Yeah. Sorry, Tadasana or Vajradasana. And now Utkatasana again, and then jump. Good, Peggy, jump. Try this with sneakers tomorrow. It'll be a lot easier. Lift, get height, make your buttocks lighter and lighter. Become unbound by earth. Lift up. Lift up. This is also good for conditions like osteopenia and osteoporosis, which requires impact. These are good. All right, just rest there. Just rest there. We're going to do another set. I know it's some people find this fun, others find it miserable, but it's really important to do for the impact, again, for bone density, but also, just to get the agility in the fast twitch muscles. So again, you're going to take Utkatasana first and then jump up, just like Elaine showed. All right, here we go again. Utkatasana and jump. Try to plant these in your routine every week. That's good, Lindsay. I'm good. Lift up, lift up. If it's too challenging on the feet, Carl, and anyone for that matter, just do your Utkatasanas, which we've been working on a regular basis. Okay. All right, now let me see. Mary Beth, I'm gonna, I could show this, but I'm not wonderful at it because of my feet. So I'm gonna hopefully take you through this. All right, so everyone get a belt. And hopefully this will be okay to do because I haven't taught this, but I'll use Mary Beth. So I'm going to spotlight Mary Beth. All right. So, all right. Now put a belt down on the floor on the mat in sort of like the third of the way down so that when you actually bend your knees, Mary Beth, from Utkatasana, you'll be like this. And then you're going to jump over the belt. So put it behind you so your feet will be forward. All right, so you're going to start where Elaine did, Utkatasana, to a bent leg. So you're forward of the belt. No, belt, just step forward. Yeah, a little bit more forward. Belt's behind you, even further back. Yeah, take the belt a little further back. All right. Some people can do it middle of the mat. So now come forward of the belt. Come forward to the wall, even more, because I think you can do it. Yeah, if you do, now come back. Come back toward the belt. Okay, let's just see there. All right, now, do what Elaine started with Utkatasana. All right, now bend your knees, bring the hands to the floor, keep your knees bent so you feel the merging of the abdomen with the thighs. Now your intention, Mary Beth, is to jump back past the belt, right, in dog pose. Those of you shoulder wrists do not do, so she jumped back. All right, now you got to jump over the belt, Mary Beth, come on, and make sure the feet land good. All right, now come back up. No, Utkatasana. Okay, you could do that. Just come back up to Tadasana. Okay, Utkatasana again. Okay, so this is the order. Utkatasana, bent leg. Now jump. Let the buttocks fly. So this is abdominal work. Sense that you're jumping back, guys, not from your arm strength, but from your core strength. And now bend the knees, Mary Beth, and jump forward. Okay, those who can will do. Now, if this is impossible because of feet, wrist, or shoulder issues, then what you could do is go back to Utkatasana, or even better, do Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana 1 and then out to the side. Okay, so I'm going to unspotlight you, Mary Beth, because I'm curious to see how we all do with this. That was beautiful. And we go. All right, think of yourself like a jumping bean. All right, those of you who want to take it on, Lindsay M, put the belt in the middle of the mat. It'll make it much harder versus higher up. Okay, so just like she showed, it's Utkatasana to a bent leg Uttanasana and jump. Do 5 times forward, 5 times back. You will find that the back is harder than the front. Good, Lubna. All right, and go. That's it, Carla. So in the beginning, the belt can just be just behind the heels, but then you can move the belt further back and further back. Nadia, you have Utthita Hasta. Anyone who has back issues, Utthita Hasta. Lindsay, just stay where you are and then go to prone Shavasana. Okay, keep going, keep going. Here's your turn to be active, that's it. Lindsay, sense that your buttocks are really airborne. So your buttocks are, yes, you're doing the whole pose from the abdomen. That's why we did all that. Notice if going forward is easier than going back. Challenge yourself, and then if anyone's finding it challenging, which it is, Elaine, you can use the belt for Utthita Hasta because then you're getting the abdominal action as well, and out to the side. Okay, just stay there. So anyone, those of you who need a break from the weight bearing, take Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana 1 and Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana 2. Otherwise, you're like a jumping bean. Keep going. All right. That's it. All right. If you're getting tired, you can rest, of course. Last one. That's it, Mary Beth, and up you come. Well done. So to me, this is not easy, but I try to practice it mostly because of for bone density. Unless you jump rope, it's very hard to get impactful poses, which are actually better than weight bearing for calcium. Yeah.
What's Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana?
That's when you're standing on your, Elaine, show it. I'll spotlight Elaine, but use the belt, Elaine. So this is a very good alternative because it's also abdominal, especially if it's not done with the belt. So you're standing on one leg. You know which one I mean now?
Yeah, thank you.
So that's it. And then go out to the side because we did that in the sequence. Okay.
Yeah, my brain forgot.
Thanks, Elaine. Yeah, that's it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right, so now from here, let's do this because it makes sense. Have 2 blocks. If you're kicking up at the wall, then of course, you're facing the wall. Most of you probably will be doing it this way. And then you're going to walk in as though you're going to kick up at the wall, raise one leg and then the other. All right, and then you can repeat that twice. Walking in with the other leg. Those of you, Nadia, if you're kicking up into full arm balance, Lindsay, Lana, Lubna, then of course do it facing the wall. Okay, let me say, just to get an idea, Carla, who's doing Lindsay V, that's good. Otherwise, Peggy, yeah, you can say Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana 1, Mary Beth, full arm balance. Those of you who are kicking up, fine. Otherwise, you're just walking in. If you don't have a regular practice of full arm balance handstand, then don't. Just do what I demonstrated. Walk in. That's it, Nadia. Or you can do Warrior 3, which is not a bad idea either. Elaine, Warrior 3. Okay. Kick up with the other leg, those of you in full arm balance. If good, Carla, reach up. Just to touch this pose, because we have, I don't do many inversions in these classes, but you can see the natural progression to full arm balance comes from the abdomen. The source of jumping up is in the abdomen. It's less about arm strength and more about core. Okay, now when you're ready, everyone take 2 blocks, and we're going to come into a quick downward facing dog and then upward facing dog. With your hands on the blocks can be out the wall or not. You can be on the tops of the feet or the balls of the feet. So Adho Mukha Svanasana to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana when you're ready. As I said earlier to Nadia, this is also a wonderful pose before abdominal work because it stretches the hip flexors, but now you'll feel that elongation in the abdomen, which should feel good. Do a few, you don't have to hold it that long. Again, Winnie, be careful because it's weight bearing on the wrists. Chair will be easier, Winnie. The Urdhva Mukha with hands on the chair. It's always easier. Okay, that's it. Okay, now let's rest the legs in Virasana with your buttock bones on the brick. So just rest the legs, experience Virasana, just as a resting pose now for your abdomen, for your legs. And then we're going to do some twists. All right, so resting, feet are pointing straight back. Then when you're ready, raise the arms up, reach up. And exhale, turn to the right. When you turn to the right, don't let the left shoulder go back. That left hip and the left armpit the armpit is directly over that left hip. And then raise the arms up. Keep the roots of the thighs moving toward the floor and turn to the left. Virasana to the right, Virasana to the left. And then repeat, arms up. Exhale to the right. See if you can bring the left side of the back ribs forward to the right. And then raise the arms up and exhale to the left. All right, now give a good stretch to the legs, Dandasana. You can sit on the brick. You can have a blanket. We're doing Bharadvajasana 1 to the right. So you're placing the left foot, the left metatarsal in the arch of the right foot. Now, know, and I've said this many times, in order to turn to the right, the left thigh will want to lift. So decentralize the left thigh out to the side. So you're sitting on height if you need it to create an evenness in the hips. So the support is underneath the buttocks, not so much the thighs, because if it's underneath the thighs, it will actually cause the thighs to lift up. And then reach up with your arms, reach up. And now on your next exhalation, turn to the right. See if you can use your arms to bring the left side of your waist, your back ribs around. Janet, just watch because you're slightly leaning back. So again, that left shoulder, keep it aligned, left armpit in line with the left hip and turn on your axes. And then raise the arms up. And again, let's do to the right and turn. So with each twist, we're learning how to eventually merge the side ribs with the thigh. All right, now stretch out your legs. And of course, Bharadvajasana 1. Anyone has knee issues, of course, you'd sit in the chair. Place now the right foot, right metatarsal in the arch of the left. Again, decentralize the right leg because when you go to the left, the right thigh will lift up. So separate the knees, the thighs away from each other, root the right thigh down, raise the arms up, and then sharp exhalation, turn. That's it, Ludna, that's good. Okay, another time to the left, reach up. Again, without lifting the right leg up, turn. We're doing these for this chair, this Bharadvajasana to aim to get the right ribs around, especially for Mauritius 1. Okay, now give a good stretch to the legs. Have a blanket nearby. Stretch out your legs. So we haven't done this in a while, it seems, Mauritius 3. And one can spend a lot of time on this pose because it's actually, in the full pose, quite challenging. So I'd like everyone to sit on some height for the lower spine. And we'll see how we do with this. So let me just show you from the frontal view. So I'm going to start with just a way, there are many ways. So I'm bending the right leg so that the heel is close into the right buttock bone, but on the floor. And then I'm kind of drawing the knee like Dvipada into my chest. You see, I'm drawing it in. I'm kind of merging once again the chest with the thigh. And then sneakily, I'm going to hook. So I'm kind of combining this hugging stage with the sneakily hook stage and turn. Let's see how we do with that. So it's a very simple way to do the pose. All right, so you're stretched out your legs. All right, now hold the right shin. Lindsay, if you've had enough, that's fine. Okay, bring the heel into the buttock bone and lift your lower spine up. Lift your lower, so hug. This is, we'll call it hug and marry. Hug and marry. I like to hug it intensely to marry the chest with the thighs, because that's what the full pose is. You have to marry the side ribs and your inner thigh. And then sneakily bring your left elbow to your outer right knee, slip the right hand out and turn. See if you can do much more of a turn now than Bharadvajasana. Bring your back ribs, the left side of your back ribs in. Keep moving the trapezius down. Keep moving the trapezius down. Okay, now come back to center. All right, now see if this helps. So before we do the hugging and marrying, decentralize the left leg. Because bringing it out to the side will make it easier to turn the left side. Again, hug and marry, and I'm really hugging and marrying my leg. You can see with 2 hands. All right, so the trunk is slightly pitched forward. Then, again, sneakily hook and turn. So I've got more turning. You can probably see it. There's more creases now in my orange sweater. You can see how that helped me turn. And then I'm going to slide that foot back to the Dandasana position and then turn around. So much so that I feel like I'm completely turned inside out. See if that helps. That's good use of the Simhasana box, Nadia. Okay, now come back to center. Now let's try it another way. This time you're gonna, well, you stay with the decentralization, but this time lean back, recline back, and then you're going to track your way up, sneakily hook, slide the leg back and turn. So we're using the methods, they're similar but not the same. Certain of the actions we're employing in this one. Okay, so go back to decentralizing the left leg and lean back like you're at the beach. Just relax the abdomen. The abdomen will draw back to the front of the spine like you did in the abdominal poses, which is interesting, right? Then sneakily hook left elbow to outer right knee. Aim to get the left side of your ribs more around, and now bring the left leg back and turn some more. When you bring the left back, when the left leg comes back, sense that you're turning yourself from the inside out. Okay, and then come back to center. Let's do, again, Mauritius 3 one last time, but a different way. So this time, I'm going to ask you to go out to the side in the direction of the right hip, so much so that the left hip comes off, left buttock bone comes off the floor. Aim to get your side ribs and thigh merged, and then you've got to walk back up and come back. So you've tried 4 different ways to come into Mauritius. That's it, Janet, go forward. Like you're almost going into a forward bend. Yes, that's good, Carla. Bring the left side of your ribs around. Also observe we're doing all to the right and all to the left, which also will make it easier. Now come back and stand back up. You took your left leg out, bring it back in. Good. All right, and then stretch your legs out, and then just do an Upavishta Konasana in between to aerate out. So again, this is to find out what works for you. It's not to say one is right, one is wrong, one is better, one is worse. Just air it out. And then we'll do the left time if I can remember all 4. Okay, just relax here in your abdomen. All right, so I want you to see the correlation between abdominal work and deep twisting, because there is a strong correlation. All right, now come back. All right, so we're going to take it from the beginning, left leg in, hug and marry. Sneakily hook and turn. So to me, I find this way, and I'll just say least effective. I'm not really getting that much turning. I don't feel turned inside out at all. I'm just kind of going through the motions muscular. Okay, come back to center. Now decentralize. Decentralize, again, feel that aeration. All right, hug and marry. Hug and marry, both arms or 2 arms, it doesn't matter. Sneakily hook, turn, bring the right side of the rib cage around. And now I'm merging 2 with 3. And now bring the right leg back on its median line. Sense the right leg almost like a cranking wheel to turn some more. All right, now come back to center, stretch out your legs, which we didn't do in between on the other side. Then the left leg. All right, now we're doing the leaning back method. All right, hug and marry. Now recline back. Now aim to get the right side of your waist over to your outer right left knee. All right, so as you come up, have that direct aim of the right side of your waist, right side of the waist to your outer left hip, and turn some more. Now assess how much more you've turned in that leaning back variety. All right, stretch out your legs, and the final one going out to the side. So you'll bend the left leg. Now go off to the side, so much so that your right hip is lifting. Aim to get your arm close to your shin. So you're starting in that low down, as far down as possible, and then walk back up. It's a little bit different, obviously, than the others. And turn. See if you can turn yourself inside out, literally inside out. All right, now stretch out your legs and take child's pose. Rest your abdomen in the same way with the thighs joined, blanket if you need it. Again, see if you can merge the chest with the thighs. So if we had more time, we would do some malasans and then eventually take Bakasana, maybe do an Ekapada Jethara and then Parshvabhakasana. Nadia, you can do that for your level 3. All right, now lie flat on your back and take Dvipada. So you could use the child's pose configuration, Nadia, for Bakasana shape. Lie on your back.
Ron, I just want to say that the one that worked best for me was going back.
Going back, leaning back. Yeah.
To me, that's the one that I got the most turn with.
Yeah, and how do you, it's an interesting comment, like how do you assess that it's that freeness in the side ribs to take around? So
I think what it was is I was able to get my elbow lower.
Yeah, the armpit lower.
Yeah.
That's another good assessment, that's for sure. Some people get it in when they go out to the side. Take Dvipada, flex the feet, and you're on your back. And just rest there. And then we'll do a few rounds of Chatuspadasana just because we haven't. We started last week, but we want to make this as regular as possible. So with the feet now on the floor, just find your mid buttock with your index finger. If you need height underneath your shoulders versus not your head, take it now. And then we're going to do 10 lifting the mid buttock up. So imagine that you had a belt around your mid buttocks. Now, when you lift up, sense that you're not lifting the navel up. connect with the posterior, the whole back body, and lift up from the back, the posterior side, not the anterior side. So I don't want anyone's abdomen to lift up. So press the feet, press the shoulders, press the head, and see if you can get good, Winnie, tremendous height in your mid buttocks. So much so that the chest is perpendicular to the floor. Go up and down a few times, and then you can put the blocks and you come into supported setu bandha. Those of you who know the wall setup, Elaine, you did it the last week, you can do the wall setup with the feet against the wall, or the feet as you did, Mary Beth, where the baseboard and where the wall and the floor meet. So Setu Bandha and Chatuspadasana, we're using those poses as an alternate to Sarvanasana, shoulder balance. Go up and down. If your legs are outstretched and you get any pain in the back or in the sacrum, then I would bend the legs and hold the brick between the thighs. Now you're not doing straight legs. That's fine. Okay, lift up and down. And then you can insert the brick and hold. You can use 2 blocks underneath the pelvis. Make sure you're rolling the thighs in and pressing the thighs down. Janet, that's good. And then those who you want, once you're settled in, if you want to do a Viparita Karani with the legs at 90 like UPP, that's fine too. But I would say the Viparita Karani, the 2 blocks side by side works best, because then you get really the shape of Viparita Karani, where the chest, the back body's in the back bend, the legs are in the forward bend. Make sure your bricks are stable though. And that's good. So if your feet were, if they were on the floor, you can lift up and support with 2 bricks underneath. You can slide both bricks underneath the pelvis, and you'd be in that's it, Setu Bandha. And then you can go to Viparita Karani. Peggy, so that's just take the legs straight up to Viparita Karani, 90 degrees. So the legs are airborne, they're not on the wall. So in Setu Bandha, they're on the wall in line with the groin. So just bring the legs back down. That's it. Just have the feet now flat. So if you're in Viparita Karani, the legs are at 90. Let me spotlight Mary Beth. I hate to have you turn your head, but just to see the shape, just in case you've forgotten, which is different than what lane you were in. So let me spotlight Mary Beth. So if you take a look at Viparita Karani, legs are at 90. So the legs are in a forward bend, back, chest is back bend. And let me see if I can find someone in Setu Bandha. Janet, you're in Viparita Karani. Okay, so I'm going to spotlight Lana, even though you can't see her feet on the wall, but she's in the supported Setu Bandha. Her legs are extended, but see, her feet are in line with her groins, not higher up like that angular UPP. So the shapes are different. Thank you, Lana. Okay, so we're just resting now. We'll work on these with a lot more finesse at another time, so don't worry. Okay. I'm going to give you some options for Shavasana. Lower legs on the seat of the chair, or prone Shavasana could be good. Those of you in Viparita Karani, take the knees into the chest, then feet to the floor, lift the block up, and the feet are on the floor, and then slowly peel down. So Nadia is also in Setu Bandha. All right. Peggy, that's it. Viparita Karani. And then prepare for relaxation when you're ready. So prone, legs elevated on the chair. Something that relaxes the abdomen. Yeah, so Peggy, what's happening here now, you've gone to set your bond and now the feet they're not on the wall itself, so then that can create pain in the back, so you have to be much closer to the wall, yeah. Yeah, and don't feel a need to go from Vikrita Karani back to Setu-Bandha. Actually, going from Setu-Bandha when the feet are at the wall to Vikrita Karani is a lot easier because then the measurement would be correct. Okay, so now when you're ready. You take what you need, just like in when we sit, and then if you want to sit, that's fine too. See if you can find your inner home inside you. Resting. Again, not trying to improve, imposing, managing anything or anyone. Cherishing this time that you have. To relax, to find your inner home. Soft, even inhalation, soft, even exhalation. Notice that the back of the throat is gripping it in a way. Let the mouth open a little bit. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. And then just take the final moments we have, perhaps just as a reflection. And once again, the things that you cherish in your life. Doesn't need to be a person, it could be a pet. Be holding your morning cup of coffee, things that you hold dearly to yourself, but not necessarily attached to or cling to. Perhaps as you reflect on this quality of cherishing, notice if your face has changed in any way. Perhaps the outward mouth turned up slightly. Perhaps the breathing has settled down. And you cherish without clinging. And we appreciate fully and then let go. So those of you who want, you can transition to an upright position. I'll stop the recording.